Has this ever happened to you?
Hi, Dad.
Does that say Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, Dad. It's like totally time for political revolution.
Do you even understand anything about economics?
Yes, Dad. I'm majoring in marijuana cultivation after all.
Economics.
Well, I know that the system is unfair. We need to end capitalism.
But that's not really how it...
No, you're wrong. I'm in college, and I'm obviously way smarter than you.
But I went to the University of
I
Chicago.
don't care if you were part of the Chicago boys. What'd you have to do? Trade the stocks and polish your guns or whatever?
My line.
I need to copy.
When the kids come home from college and they think they know everything about the world, even though you've been alive 30 years longer than they have, and you have a doctorate degree in economics, it can be upsetting and ruin Christmas for everybody. But what if I told you that you could stop your daughter becoming a democratic socialist for just $19.99?
But how?
Introducing macroeconomics, a simple 9-step program that will stop your kids from becoming commies. Written by the world-renowned economic theorist Stuart Scotsma, your child is guaranteed to learn about the things that actually matter, like how to find GDP, calculate inflation, the 10 main types of welfare, and so much more. Step 1 is GDP. It works like this. First read chapter 1, then explain it to your kid. It's easy, just watch.
We should privatize Social Security and save federal government $1.3 trillion.
I've never been so proud of you in my entire life as I am now. Hey, you don't know how to calculate GDP.
I don't need to know that.
Well, you take consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports. This is also known as SIGEX.
Oh wow, this is so cool. I've got to tweet #suggestion.
And that's only step 1. Step 2, talk about unemployment.
Did you know that there are 3 types of unemployment? Frictional unemployment, structural unemployment, and cyclical unemployment. By the way, dinner's ready.
Step 3, explain inflation using the cool Bolivia story printed in chapter 3. You'll never have to hear her say, "Why don't we print more money?" Step 4, explain poverty statistics and make your child sad.
Hey, did you know that 16% of women live in poverty and 31% of single mothers live in poverty?
Step 5, explaining taxes to your child. This is where you will really begin to see a positive change.
You know, there's 3 main types of taxes. There's the proportional tax, aka the flat tax, the regressive tax, where the more you make, the less you pay, and the progressive tax, where the more you make, the more you pay.
Really?
Yeah, and America uses a progressive tax, so we tax the rich more.
We really shouldn't punish the wealthy with oppressive taxation.
Wait, did you just say that?
I'm gonna say, down with Wall Street.
Step 6, talk about the federal budget.
You know, your mother and I never spend more money than what we have made. But you know, the federal government doesn't do that. In fact, we spent $19 trillion last year. Just look at your grandpa's Social Security. You know, the government only took in $3.18 trillion, but we spent $3.97 trillion last year, and 33% of that spending went to Social Security and 27% on Medicare. So 60% of our spending paid for old people like your grandpa.
I never had to put back retirement money because I have this daily Social Security check. And guess what? I vote in every election, so my interests are always represented.
Step 7, explain the difference between the deficit and debt, because we can guarantee your child doesn't know the difference.
I'm gonna have so much deficit from college.
Actually, you have no clue what you're talking about. Deficit is the amount of money you lack in a given year to cover expenses. You mean debt. Debt is all the deficits added together, and you will have a college debt, not a college deficit.
Step 8, school your child on fiscal policy.
You see this graph? You know, you're not doing anything until you can explain this graph. You see, AD means aggregate demand, which is the demand for all things treated as if it was one. AS means aggregate supply, which is the supply of all things treated as if it were one. Now, if you go on the high side of aggregate supply line, you'll be in inflation. But if you go too low, you'll be in recession.
So as aggregate demand grows, so does GDP, but so does inflation?
Yes, you're so smart.
And what about expansionary and contractionary fiscal policy?
Well, you use expansionary policy to fight recession, and contractionary policy to fight inflation. A mixture of both is usually used to attempt to control aggregate demand. There's actually a pretty neat chart that will help you find the change in GDP from taxes, spending, and to both taxes and spending reviews. You just need to know the marginal propensity to consume, or the MPC, and the marginal propensity to save, or the MPS. See?
Wow, this is awesome. I should put this on my Instagram.
But wait, there's more. You gotta let me tell you about automatic stabilizers.
Like on a rocket?
No, like the way that fiscal policy can happen without government intervention, like the progressive tax and government spending.
Finally, the last step for giving your child a proper economic education is teaching them the ways of monetary policy.
You know, you've learned an awful lot since you've been home for Christmas break. But do you know who conducts monetary policy?
No, Dad, I don't.
Why, the Federal Reserve, of course. They police the banks. Essentially, they are a bank for the banks. And you're not going to believe this. This is crazy. But only 20% of the money in America is tangible.
That's crazy.
I know! And banks require, the Fed requires that banks hold back a certain amount of money. This is called the required reserve ratio.
One time, when I was on Twitter, I read something on discount rate.
Yes, the discount rate is the rate at which the Federal Reserve loans money to banks.
And what is the OMO?
Oh, you mean OMO? Open Market Operations? That's when the Fed buys or sells security. They buy when using expansionary policy, and they sell when using contractionary policy. OMO is the least extreme economic policy.
Dad, how do you know so much about macroeconomics?
Well, it certainly wasn't my macroeconomics degree from the University of Chicago. It was this book I bought from 1999.
But don't just take it from us. We asked a real-life expert, and here's what she said.
This book is phenomenal. You can teach macroeconomics to anybody. I'm an expert and I recommend this book.
See, take it from the experts. You need this book. Just follow our simple 9-step formula and stop your children from equally distributing everything. Call now and we'll throw in this free market basket. Call 1-800-GET-ECON. That's 1-800-GET-ECON. Call now. Guaranteed to work or your money back.
Here, stay. Okay,
You can't sing.
I know I can. I can't do anything other than play the guitar.
I can't even do that.
Sorry, I'm like 98% perfect.
She starts it.
See that?
That was cool.
I want to let you know he's been recording for 20 seconds.
I figured.
I don't know where we are.
Yeah.